Hi, how are you? And welcome to another podcast by George. Well, it's time to jump back into some news, views, and even a little bit of blues in this podcast. That's right, I've got some great music coming up at the end that you're going to like to hear, and it's also a preview of an upcoming show that I know you're going to like. But I wanted to talk about the news of the day, which is shocking and startling and disgusting, and all of the above. And this is Dateline New York, out of the New York Times. 2 additional pipe bombs, one addressed to former Vice President Joe Biden and the other to actor Robert Deniro, have been found, law enforcement officials said Thursday, the latest in a wave of similar devices sent to several prominent Democrats who've been the rhetorical targets of President Trump and several right-wing figures. A law enforcement official said the envelope and printed address labels on the package sent to Deniro were similar to those that you heard about. They were sent to former President Barack Obama, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and others, and an X-ray showed it contained a similar device resembling a pipe bomb. Well, a couple of things right off the top about these pipe bombs as I followed this in the news. I don't know if you caught it yesterday, but before this news was hardly even out, the right-wing lunatic fringe, including the pandemic pantload known as Rush Limbaugh, were running around talking about false flags. Now, believe it or not, and I've seen this in the controversy involving the Middle East. Somebody will get killed over there, and the other side will claim that they committed suicide just to make them look bad, which is craziness. It's hard to believe that anybody would believe such silliness, but they've used that excuse for attacks on both sides for a number of years over there. But this false flag thing, basically, the right-wing Republicans are claiming that the Democrats, somebody that's a Democrat, although I don't know why that would make any difference, they're sending these pipe bombs to make Republicans look bad, if you can believe that. Rush Limbaugh said that yesterday, and you've heard me talk about Limbaugh before, and I know people listening to this podcast don't take Limbaugh seriously, but the point of it is thousands do, tens of thousands do, hundreds of thousands do. They listen to that fat pant load every single day, and he has an influence, an effect. Anybody that would believe that could be drawn into that scenario, they'll vote Republican, they'll vote Donald Trump, they'll vote whatever that guy tells them to do. And that's what Rush Limbaugh was saying yesterday. And now some nut has sent a pipe bomb to Robert Deniro. Deniro has been an outspoken critic of Mr. Trump. During the Tony Awards ceremony in June, you might recall that, he gave a speech in which he attacked the president with an obscenity, and a video of his comments was widely shared on social media. On Wednesday, yesterday, when this is being recorded, this podcast, President Trump at first denounced the attempted bombing, saying at the White House, "We have to unify." But at a nighttime rally in Wisconsin, he took a more pointed tone, criticizing the news media and Democrats, even as he asked Americans to come together in peace and harmony. This Trump guy, I mean, honest to God, did you vote for him? Let's try to find somebody that did, because I want to ask him, did you vote for this guy to run around the country and give these same dumbass speeches night after night after night, almost identical speeches to the same adoring, leering crowds that obviously don't seem to be able to understand or get the threat that this guy poses to the country, even as pipe bombs are being delivered to his opponents? And you can talk about false flags and all that crap you want to, but here's one thing I'll guarantee you. If they get to the bottom of this, and I guess they've got some leads, they may find out who the numbnuts was that sent these pipe bombs out. The point of that is I can guarantee you, I'll go right up front, I'll go on record on this podcast by George right now and tell you that they're not going to find that this is a false flag. There's not a Democratic operative out there, as Rush Limbaugh says, sending pipe bombs to opponents of Donald Trump to make Republicans look bad, which reminds me of something. It's not politically correct to say this, and it's probably not even socially correct, but I'm going to say it. I remember back in the 80s and 90s, back in that era, there was a huge push on the part of Democrats to turn out to vote, to get people to vote, because they knew there were more potential, anyway, registered Democrats for their side than the Republicans. Well, here's what happened. the people that the Democrats wanted to vote, the young people, the, underrepresented, the minority population, they're still not voting. Not like they should, but what it did was it galvanized the right, particularly the Christian right. They saw that happening and said, my God, we need to protect God, guns, and promote our anti-abortion, anti-gay agenda, and every single one of those guys vote. In the meantime, young people, not so much. Minorities, not so much. It kind of backfired. And at the time, I was thinking and even told some people that the people that aren't voting, this was back in the day, I don't know that you want them to vote. They're probably best left alone. And you know what? It turned out to be exactly that. Those people are now voting. And they vote every single time. And they're the kind of people that are on the internet. They're the kind of people that listen to Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck and watch Fox News and are devoted to Donald Trump. That's what that effort, I think, got us. It got us nothing but misery. It was probably best left alone. Now, that's a kind of a conspiratorial opinion in itself, but it's mine, and you're probably not going to hear it anywhere else. You know, this all started with the first bomb being found Monday at the home of George Soros, the billionaire advocate of liberal causes. That's up in, he lives in Westchester County, north of New York City. And they also sent one to John Brennan. And the thing of it is, without all of this crazy coverage and all of these cruel allegations and all of these attacks up to and including the President of the United States, people wouldn't even know who John Brennan was, somebody in his position 20 years ago. And now they're sending pipe bombs to the guy, along with George Soros. What a pitiful, calamitous state of affairs. And last night, our president is in Wisconsin.
No one should carelessly compare political opponents to historical villains, which is done often, it's done all the time. Got to stop.
Okay, so we'll continue with this clip, but you got to remember, I just want to interject it. This is the same nut, that's right, Donald Trump, that likened Ted Cruz's father to a conspiratorial partner of Lee Harvey Oswald. Remember that? That was a nutty news story in his favorite publication, The National Enquirer. Same guy. Let's pick it up.
We should not mob people in public spaces or destroy public property.
Listen to that crowd. Now, you got to remember, this is a Republican partisan crowd. These are the right-wing nut jobs, the biggest nuts they've got out there. And what is the most important thing in the world to them? Maybe next to their guns and their Bible, not sure, but it's property. I mean, he knows how to play this crowd. Let's pick it up.
There is one way to settle our disagreements. It's called peacefully at the ballot box. That's what we want. That's what we want.
Now, you can Monday morning quarterback these rallies very easily, and it's not hard. I got to admit, it's kind of fun. But this is not the best orator in the world. These are not the best talking points in the world. A lot of it's false and untrue. And, of course, the crowd is insipid, to say the least. So listen to him cheer there and listen to what he just said. They do realize, he would, I think, if you pointed it out to him, that they lost at the ballot box. He wouldn't be up there talking if it was dependent upon the ballot box. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote in 2016 by 3 million votes in the ballot box. He only won in the Electoral College. Like I said, it's easy to do this, but it's kind of fun. All right, let's pick it up.
As part of a larger national effort to bridge our divides and bring people together, the media also has a responsibility to set a civil tone and to stop the endless hostility and constant negative and oftentimes false attacks and stories. Have to do it.
Trump called Deniro a very low IQ individual who had taken too many shots to the head by real boxers in movies. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to make of this, really. So you got people running around talking about false flags. You got politicians body slamming reporters to the ground in Montana while the president commends him for doing that. You've got a guy giving the same rally all over the country. It's got the same lines in it. The same people standing there cheering lock her up and crap like that while pipe bombs are being sent to the people targeted and spoken directly about by the president, both from, Pennsylvania Avenue and these rallies around the country. Unbelievable. And here's the other thing about Trump and these rallies. You look at him up there and you think, well, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's just speaking to his brethren and can't be held accountable or responsible for the violence that it incites. Well, here's the thing. Trump does know what he's doing. And here's the very basic reason why. Those people at those rallies are not kindred spirits of Donald Trump. I don't know if they realize this or not, but they don't know anybody like Donald Trump. Donald Trump has never been around people like those. He's a silver spooner. That guy is a multi-bajillionaire, obviously, although how much money he actually has is in debate. But with Trump speaking to these adoring throngs, he knows what he's doing. He believes he's smarter than everybody, and he certainly believes that he's smarter than the people at those events. And how they reconcile that, I don't know. Here's a guy up there that's obviously playing them, and some people just love being played. Personally, I can't stand it. I mean, the lack of authenticity bothers me, but being lied to, I can't tolerate. If you're going to lie to me, you better be really good. And to go back to Robert De Niro, go see the movie Casino. You've heard me talk about this before, and watch the scene where the slot machine manager is ripped off by somebody that hits 2 or 3 jackpots in a row. Here's an outtake of that clip.
4 reels, 7s across 3 $15,000 jackpots. Do you have any idea what the odds are?
Shoot, it's got to be in the millions, maybe more.
3 fucking jackpots in 20 minutes? Why didn't you pull the machines? Why didn't you call me?
Well, it happened so quick. 3 guys won. I didn't have a chance to call you.
You see the scam? You didn't see what was going on?
Well, there's no way to determine that,
Yes,
Sam.
there is. An infallible way. They won.
Well, it's a casino. People got to win sometimes.
Hey, Ward, you're pissing me off. Now you're insulting my intelligence. What do you think, I'm a fucking idiot? You know goddamn well somebody had to get into those machines and set those fucking reels. The probability on one 4-reel machine is 1.5 million to 1. On 3 machines in a row, it's in the billions. It cannot happen. Would not happen. You fucking Momo, what's the matter with you? Didn't you see you were being set up on the second win?
I really think
you didn't see that you were being set up on the second win?
I really think you're overreacting.
Listen,
to
you
this whole...
fucking yokel, I had it with you. I've been carrying your ass in this place ever since I got here. Get your ass and get your things and get out of here.
You're firing me?
I'm firing you. No, I'm not firing. I'm firing you.
You might regret this, Mr. Rothstein.
I'll regret it even more if I keep you on.
This is not the way to treat people.
Listen, if you didn't know you're being scammed, you're too fucking dumb to keep this job. If you did know you were in on it, either way, you're out. Get out. Go on, let's go.
Well, I got to admit, those are my sentiments. Exactly. That's me talking to Trump voters at the rally in Wisconsin. These people that want 4 more years of Donald Trump, they're going to vote for him in 2020. That's exactly what I'm thinking. That's what I would be saying to them. Either you're too dumb to understand what it is you're doing with this hate speech and these attacks on politicians, individuals, and the media, or you're in on it. It's one or the other. It can't be anything else, and neither option is good or acceptable. Just like De Niro says, either way, you're out. Vote him out. Robert De Niro in the movie Casino. All right, so that's fun. That's our little politics segment for this particular podcast. I want to thank you for listening in again, and I also want to take us out with a preview of an upcoming show and some really good music here. I was up in Minneapolis a couple of weeks ago to see a benefit concert with Bruce McCabe and the Hoopsnakes. Bruce, you heard on an earlier podcast by George some of his music, and it was an outstanding show. And among his cast of musicians is a guy named Charlie Bingham, master of the Telecaster. I mean, this guy is a great guitar player, and he was great with the band when they were rolling in the 80s and 90s, and now I think he's kind of in semi-retirement down in Florida. But he broke out those guitars up there, and it was just awe-inspiring. Check out this guitar solo. Now, the thing about Charlie Bingham and Bruce McCabe is they were both earlier members of the Lamont Cranston Band, fronted by Pat Hayes. And that's coming your way very soon on another podcast by George. Here's Charlie Bingham.